Welcome to the Matrix Reveal. After last week, Trump gave his State of the Union address, and he mentioned the no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security benefits, which sounds like a good deal and a win. No, a win for the small guy finally, But yet and still, you have some people who will want to take those things and pretend like they're bad. Now, AOC, she went on her Instagram account, I believe, and she gave a little rant about the no taxes, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on overtimes. And of course, she tried to flip it and make it sound like it would be a bad thing for the people. We're gonna watch it real quick and see what she got to say about it. I'm gonna pull this right up. We're gonna see what she got to say about it.
Is the rich getting richer, and then they put as little lipstick on a pig these little crumbs of no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security benefits, and no tax on overtime. Let's talk about a couple of these things. In terms of no tax on tips, obviously you all know I was a waitress for many years.
You should understand.
I was a bartender on many years. Someone said your sweater, guys, I made it. Thank you. It's all my hair's covering all the holes up here. So, but in terms of no tax on tips, listen, I was a waitress. I was a bartender. I get it. And if you live off of tips, I get it. The one thing that I want people to think about is, even as a waitress, if any of you all else have gone like completely mad with every single job being a tipped job with an iPad screen now, like especially during COVID. I mean, it's even to the point where the freaking self-checkouts at the airport get tip screens.
Yeah, we're not giving everybody a tip.
If you are tired of that, I do think it's important for us to recognize the danger of every job becoming a tipped job.
Now you hear that? The danger. This is one of I learned that this is a leftist technique. Danger. Using words like danger, or always trying to present things as a danger or not safe and stuff like that. So now she's saying no taxes on tips could somehow be dangerous. I'm going to go ahead and let her finish though.
And all of us then now having to pay each other's wages, not just in waitressing, not just in bartending. I'm talking about everything. And I think it's just a precipice that we all need to think about, because there's a very careful and slippery slope here that we just need to pause and consider, because then we can very easily enter a world where no one is paid, where like no one's employer is like actually paying their wages, and we're all just tipping each other and essentially GoFundMeing the entire economy. And that is the one area where I want us to be thoughtful about.
Now, wait a minute. How in the world is not paying taxes on tips going to all of a sudden create every job a tipped job, and we're going to have to pay each other wages? That don't even make sense, AOC. It's no taxes on tips. You get tips. You got tip jobs. Those tip jobs have to pay taxes on the tips. But if this new law passed, they won't have to pay taxes on those tips. It's not that hard. But once again, it has to be a bad thing, and we all know why.
Okay? Thoughtful about. And because historically we think of tip jobs as waitresses, bartenders, hospitality. But we all have also been experiencing the typification of a lot more jobs outside of that. And if you don't want every single person that you interact with starting to turn an iPad screen around, we need to take this very carefully. Because employers need to pay their employees a living wage.
I can agree with that.
Employers need to pay their employees a living goddamn wage. And this idea that we are going to transfer and disincentivize and prevent or give people an outing, massive corporations an out.
Wait a minute. These tip workers won't have to pay taxes on their tips. How is that giving the employers an out? You see how she's trying to take a good thing for the people and turn it into a bad thing or a dangerous thing, as she puts it? Yo, I'm gonna let her finish.
From paying a living wage to making everyone and incentivizing everyone into becoming a tipped worker. I will be the first to tell you, as a waitress, as a bartender in New York City, the volatility of being a tipped worker is a big deal. Now, we choose it. We have that job, you know. That's a separate issue. But if it gets to a point where no one can get a stable job because everything's become typified, because we've changed and altered the tax code to reward employers for not paying a living wage and for paying sub-minimum tip wages, I want us to really think about that. Really think about that, number one. Number two.
Wait a minute. She doesn't even make sense. So making tips tax-free for the tip workers is somehow rewarding the employers. Now, I understand the idea of paying the living wage, but there's a tip system. We had it for a long time. But to pretend like no taxes on tips is somehow bad for the American people and is good for the employer, that the employer is somehow off the hook because the tip workers won't have to pay taxes on their tips. Man, that's ridiculous. And this is one of the reasons why the Democrats can't win right now. The Democrats are in a bad place right now because they're totally out of touch with the average working American. They're out of touch with the working class American. If you're a tip worker, this is a great thing for you, and I hope it passes for you. I'm going to continue now.
No taxes on Social Security benefits. Another one, on its face, listen, we can talk about that, but I want to tell you about how Social Security is funded. Because we hear all the time, right? Like, especially if you're a millennial. I don't know if Gen Z, when y'all were in high school, tell me in the comments. But when I was in high school, we would get these little, like, sometimes like right-wing videos that got wheeled into our classrooms that were like, I mean, it happened to me, where it was like, oh, Social Security is gonna run out of money. You guys aren't gonna get Social Security. Just so you know, Social Security is running out of money. It's running out of money. They have been priming us to give up on the Social Security system for a long time. But let me tell you something, why that is not the case, okay? Social Security there are financial issues with Social Security, but let me tell you why. Because we all get taxed we all pay into Social Security, right? Like if you have a job and you pull up your pay stub, you can look at your pay stub, how much money you pay in Social Security. And it's a lot of money at the end of the year. Like it's a lot of money for us, for a normal person. If you're making 20, 30, if you're making 30, 40, 50, $60,000 a year, you look at the end of the year how much money you've paid into Social Security. It's a lot of money. But that money, the amount of money that you pay into Social Security, stops at $250,000. If your income is $250,000, you have a cap. You don't really pay into it proportionately as much. All you need to do is lift that maximum income cap of $250,000 on Social Security, and we're good. Social Security you eliminate overnight any sort of solvency issue that the right wing and Republicans want to tell you that Social Security has. So let's revisit why Trump's proposal on not taxing Social Security benefits is a problem. Now, if we want to, the idea on its face, I think is something that could potentially be negotiable, right? Because on its face, not whatever. But the way that they have structured, the way that Donald Trump and the Republican Party have structured the no tax on Social Security benefits, their proposal is the following. Currently, Social Security, the taxes on Social Security benefits actually go around, the taxes on Social Security benefits go around to help fund.
Wait a minute. Donald Trump and his team hasn't structured anything. This is the way Social Security tax work, I guess. But once again, this is another win for the small guy. If you receive Social Security benefits and they're saying, oh, you're not going to have to pay taxes on those Social Securities, another win for the small guy. But of course, she can't see it that way, because remember, the number one in this political climate, the number one rule for the Democrats is no wins for Trump. No matter if it benefits the small man or not, we cannot let Trump have a win. And this is basically what she's doing. She knows it's a good idea, but she wants to paint a dark cloud over it because no wins for Trump. I'm gonna let her finish.
Social Security. It goes back into the Social Security fund. Now, when they take away the taxes on Social Security benefits, what Trump is proposing that they do is you take away the tax and then you take away the Social Security funding. So the way that the little wrapper that they've put on it is no tax on Social Security, but the fine print is that they're trying to make Social Security run out of money faster. They're trying to bankrupt Social Security by selling it as a no tax on Social Security benefits. Now, if we wanted to approach that, we would lift the cap on lift the $250,000 income cap on Social Security so that we can fully fund Social Security, not have to worry about a solvency issue at all, and then we can talk about the tax on benefits and see what possibilities there are there. So scam, and then no tax on overtime. Okay, I hear that. Also,
yeah, you hear, we all hear
just
it.
So you know, there are some people and some professions on overtime that also make a lot of money.
So what?
And so, is there going to be any income cap on that? Because I will tell you, Republicans want to means test Medicaid left, right, up, and down. You all know, if anybody here has ever had any experience with Medicaid, they basically floss everything about your life for you to be able to get the tiniest amount of help on your health care.
Listen, if you're an hourly worker and you work overtime, and they're now saying you're not going to have to pay any taxes on that overtime that you earned, bring it on. That's a great deal. But once again, she has to paint it in a dark light as if it's a bad thing. No taxes on overtime. Bring that on. Hit me with that, baby. Hit me with that. No taxes on overtime. This is crazy. These people are so against this man that they ultimately will come against the American people. And once again, this is why the Democrats are in a bad place, because they are out of touch with the average working American, especially those hourly employees who have to work a lot. Just think about it. You got people that's working 8, 10, 12, 20 hours of overtime a week. And if they can get that with no taxes on that, with the price of everything rising, you talk about inflation and the cost of everything going. If you can't bring the prices down, at least find a way to put a little more money in our pocket. I think we all can agree on that. But these people, no wins for Donald Trump. That's what it boils down to. Because even Kamala Harris had proposed the no taxes on tips, because it's a good idea for the working people. But like I said, they don't care if the American people have to suffer, long as Donald Trump don't get no wins.
So if we're going to give a huge amount of money for no tax on overtime, are they going to plan on doing the same thing? Or is there going to be any sort of income cap on it? Or can you make an unlimited amount of income and still get the tax benefits? What if you make $250,000 a year? Do you still think that those folks shouldn't pay taxes? Shouldn't contribute? What about people who make most of their, it's not to say that these things are flat out up or down. It's to say those are the only 3 proposals that really have any relevance to working people. And I'm just saying,
we like it.
Think about it a little bit more. Just think about it, just a little bit under the surface. And even then, those 3 things, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no benefits, and no tax on overtime, represent this much of a tax package that is this big. And this much of it is give money to Elon Musk, give money to Jeff Bezos, give money to Mark Zuckerberg, give money to the biggest corporations in America, and this much of that tax package has anything to do with you, and even this part is still kind of scamming you a little bit. So,
sorry, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Sorry, sweetie, but we want that bill. Like I said, if you're a tip worker, you want this bill. If you get Social Security and they're not going to take no taxes out of that, you want this bill. If you work overtime, a lot of overtime, you want this bill. Do not let rich people like AOC tell you that this bill won't benefit you. She worried about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos. Now, I'm not. They got their own money and their own problems. I got my own money and my own problem. But this here is definitely a win for the working class American. Don't let rich people like AOC, because a lot of people in Congress, they talk about Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Donald Trump and all these other billionaires, but what they won't tell you is they're all millionaires. They're all multi-millionaires. So they're not hurting either way. But the small man like you and me, we hurt. If you work overtime, yeah, we don't want no taxes on that. We can get that. If you're a tip worker, no, you don't want no taxes. You can get that. If you receive Social Security, yeah, tax-free, let's get that. Do not listen to people that make millions off of stealing the money, because this is what it really boils down to. Because people in Congress like AOC, they want as much as tax money as they can get, so they can funnel it through those NGOs, so they can funnel it back to their own pockets. And that's what's really going on here. They don't want no tax cut for the American people, because they want to fund the money through those NGOs, and they can put it in their pockets. Once again, this is the Matrix, and this is the Matrix reveal. Pay close attention, because if you don't know anything, they'll tell you anything. I'm out.